Howdy folks, how are we all doing? I'm the Reverend Danny Crosby, a Unitarian minister serving congregations in Altrincham and in Urmston in the northwest of England. I hope you're able to find the love and you're witnessing the blessings that are here in life in these difficult times. It's hard, my friends, but we are all in this together. I'm offering these devotions as my little bit of hope, I suppose, doing what I can, playing my role, being a part of the solution. They are offered as a balm for the heart, the mind, the spirit and the soul. And the title for today's reflection is Conversation and Connection. So I invite us just to still ourselves together now in silence. Let's invite a loving presence to be here amongst us and to awaken from deep, deep within us. I have lit the flame of freedom in the cup of belonging, acceptance, and of love. We join together in our physical separation, but united in our devotion to life and to love. Help us to sing for joy like the birds each morning sing their faith in being alive and being here. But sometimes I feel like a motherless child. In this time and in this space, may you know the warmth of acceptance and of love. Sometimes I feel like I have no friend. In this time and space, may you know that you are wanted, needed and loved, that you are accepted as you are, exactly as you are this moment. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. In this time and in this space, may you know hope deep in the core of your being, in your heart and in your soul. Even when you are a long way from home, may you know the love of home and the ground beneath your feet, and may you know the love of home in the depths of your own being. Be at home. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Don't we all sometimes? Don't we all? Know that you belong. I'm going to share a little bit of wisdom from Hidden Wholeness by Parker J. Palmer. It's titled Listening to the Voice. Silence and laughter may seem like strange bedfellows, but experience reveals that they are not. What, for example, do we call people who can spend hours together in silence without feeling awkward or tense, and who can use humour to help each other through hard times? We call them, of course, friends, good friends. It takes good friends to sustain silence and laughter because both make us vulnerable. Silence makes us vulnerable because we stop making noise, we lose control. Who knows what thoughts or feelings might arise if we turned off the television or stopped yammering for a while. Laughter makes us vulnerable because it often comes in response to our flaws and foibles. Who knows how foolish we might look when the joke is on us? We can share silence and laughter only when we trust each other. And the more often we share them, the deeper our trust grows. The soul loves silence because it is shy, and silence helps it feel safe. The soul loves laughter because it seeks the truth, and laughter often reveals reality. But above all, the soul loves life, and both silence and laughter are life-giving. Perhaps this is why we have yet another name for people who can share silence and laughter with equal ease. We call them soulmates. May your life be filled with them. I've found a group of soulmates that are helping me through this time when we're all separated, physically at least. Every morning I do an hour's long Zoom meditation with people, and before we begin, we get chatting and have a bit of laughter, and most of us wear hats as well, just to get dressed for the occasion. You know, at 7 in the morning, it seems like a fun thing to do. Then we listen to some words, we share a time of absolute silence together, and then we share from our hearts. And I do this every morning, and it is sustaining me in my spirit, in my soul, very much so. It's allowing me to share silence and intimacy and laughter and wisdom and cries of joy and cries of pain together. I've made some good friends, I really have. Deep connections and wonderful conversations. But I'm going to begin by reflecting back a little. It was a cold January lunchtime back in 2005 when I first walked through the door of Cross Street Unitarian Chapel in Manchester. Peter Sampson, a wonderful human being, greeted me at the door, and Reverend John Midgley, another wonderful human being, delivered a service that spoke to my heart, my mind, my spirit, and my soul. It touched me. So much has changed since then, and yet this place has remained the same, really. A spiritual oasis in the heart of a busy city, a beacon for free and inquiring religion, although the city is quiet at the moment, of course, but it will return eventually. John's service spoke deep to me, and it began a new relationship for myself with a new tradition. I felt I could belong here in this tradition. A conversation began that day as I listened. The conversation has continued as the relationship has developed. I had gone there that day seeking answers to many questions I had, because I'd experienced a kind of spiritual awakening, a transformative experience, and I wanted to make sense of it. And I was going everywhere, to be honest. I wanted to know what the was going on. The questions have not been answered, actually. In fact, if anything, I've got far more questions today. But I try and live them today, not just answer them. And as I've lived them, my relationship with the great mystery has continued, and that conversation has really developed. But I've not yet got the answers, and do you know what? I never will. They just lead to more questions. Over the years, I've listened to much. I've shared an awful lot. I have sat in silence. I have sung songs. I have laughed and laughed and laughed. And I have wept many times. It's been a good 15.5 years since I first walked through that door at Cross Street Chapel in Manchester, that cold January lunchtime on all those years ago. A lot's happened since then. The blessings and curses of living life, of choosing life. I have come to understand that at its core, the spiritual life is about relationships. Relationships with life, with each other, with ourselves, and with God, whatever we understand God to be, the divine, however we understand that word. And how do relationships develop? Well, through conversation, through sharing ourselves with each other, not by losing ourselves, but by becoming ourselves through our conversations with the other, lowercase and uppercase. We relate through conversation, and thus we grow spiritually through relationship. Now, there are, of course, many ways to relate, to converse. It's not just through the spoken word. There is a wonderful song in the latest New Model Army album, From Here. The song is titled Conversation. It is a song about a desperate need to connect when lost in a seemingly hopeless situation. The essence of the song is in this desire to connect, to make conversation of any kind. The last few lines of the song are as follows. And though nothing much is said, it's a conversation of a kind. You take any companion you can find. All those flickering lights across the town, crackling connections and animals running. There are ghosts everywhere and the night watching. Call me any time. Call me any time. And though nothing much will be said, it will be a conversation of a kind. Call me any time. Call me any time. I am sure that all of us, at one time or another, have felt a desperate sense of disconnection when we would give anything to desperately connect to a conversation of some kind, to relate once again. Maybe we're feeling it right now. I'm sure we are. All of us are in some ways. Many of us are experiencing a deep grief at the moment, not just because of the death, the horrendous number of people that are dying, but due to a loss also of our usual connections in life. Most of us are not spending physical time with people other than those in our households. The world seems to be going through a deep grief, actually, on many levels. And we are missing those physical connections. And thus, we feel an aching loneliness. No one's immune from it. Yes, many of us are using modern media to connect face to face, and to many folk all at the same time. But it does not give us the physical connections that we crave. We can't hear the physicality of the people we're communicating with. Only our ears and our eyes are connecting, really. But there are deeper connections in human interaction that are lacking at the moment. And as a result, I suspect our other senses are closing down. They're aching. I go for a run every morning, and that helps me connect in so many ways. But by the end of the day, I can feel a little closed in once again. I felt like this only a few days ago. So I decided to go for a walk along the canal. And it helped as I nodded and said hello to people. And as I passed by the nature so alive and so beautiful that spring evening, I began to connect again in a physical sense, bodily sense, not just with my eyes and with my ears and with my mouth. My body was connecting to others and to life. I could physically feel alive, connected to life. I needed it. On the way back from the walk, I bumped into a couple of people I knew, actually, and we talked, of course, from a safe distance, and that helped too. It worked its magic as I returned home feeling like I'd been touching life again, and life was touching me physically deeply once again. Well, so many of us are lacking that physical interaction, that physical intimacy. I don't mean that kind of physical intimacy, just being with people. It's hard, isn't it? I find it hard at times. It brought to my mind, actually, the verse from Walt Whitman's incredible epic poem, I Sing the Body Electric. But I'm just going to focus, I'm not going to read the whole thing or sing the whole thing because it would be here all day. But I'm going to just share with you the fourth stanza. I have perceived that to be with those I like is enough. To stop in company with the rest at evening is enough. To be surrounded by beautiful, curious, breathing, laughing flesh is enough. To pass among them or touch anyone or rest my arm ever so lightly around his or her neck for a moment, what is this then? I do not ask any more delight, I swim in it as in a sea. There is something in staying close to men and women and looking on them, and in the contacting and odour of them that pleases the soul well. All things please the soul, but these please the soul well. Yeah. We're all grieving the loss of this physicality, and my soul is crying out for it. It's for the right reasons, of course. Our lives depend upon us doing this at this time, but it does not make it any easier. But we must do so to save lives. I can't just think about my own soul, my own needs. We are united in this, the whole planet, and we have to think of one another. My soul's all right, it's fed in other ways. But it does cry, and it craves, and it aches, and I acknowledge this. This is not to say, though, that I'm not enjoying good conversations. Interestingly, I'm enjoying some of the best I've ever had, actually. My eyes and my ears are very much awake, and Zoom and other platforms are allowing incredibly deep conversations to develop. Some of the deepest ones I've ever had, actually. But they are on a level. They're not a full bodily experience. But my eyes and my ears are feasting. In The Art of Conversation, a guided tour of a neglected pleasure, Catherine Blythe suggests that when it works, conversation can come close to heaven, be it sharing a laugh with a stranger, transforming a contact into a friend, that joyful moment when you click, share a joke, or spark a new idea, or just letting off steam with someone who knows how to listen. There are countless adventures between minds out there waiting to happen in each encounter, each day of our lives. Networking is part of conversation's value, although the word sounds chilly and strategic. Conversation, of course, is something bigger. It is the spontaneous business of making connections, whether for work, friendship, or pure fleeting pleasure. She suggests that conversation, though, is more than words. It is music. Its harmony, rhythm, and flow transcend communication, flexing mind and heart, tuning us for companionship. Conversation, whether spoken or not, build and deepen relationship. Relationships with each other are vital. We can't live without them. Some of the most important ones, of course, come through friendships. Friendship allow a deeper spiritual intimacy, and they develop a deeper conversation over time. Friendships allow a deeper intimacy in life, and they're vital to life. Such deep intimacy and true face-to-face friendships are as important to young people today as they've always been, you know. We think they're more superficial, but they're not. They may appear that they're lost in the artificial, but I've observed young people, they're not. People are the same as they have always been. I suspect that such friends are the first deep intimacies that any of us experience as we know ourselves through relationship with each other. Those teenage ones are really important. They allow us to find ourselves in life and thus connect to that which is at the core of life. And perhaps the ultimate of all friendships and intimacies, of course, is the relationship that we enjoy with our God. A conversation that never ends. Well, mine doesn't anyway. Yeah, relationships, friendships, conversations are vital whatever stage of life we're at. They may not always look the same, and perhaps we have to adjust as we're having to adjust now. But people are the same as they've always been. We've just got fancier toys these days, that's all. And thank God we have at the moment. They're helping us stay close while being physically separate. But back to friends. A friend is someone you can trust, that you can rely upon, someone who will be there for you. And certainly my friends have always been there for me. We have laughed and we have cried together. We have enjoyed some wild and crazy times together. And we have grieved as we have lost one of our number. You know what? I've lost a lot of friends over the years. Far too many. Far too many. I worry for them now. I know that some are not so well. If life has taught me anything, I have learned that it's all about relationships. Everything that really matters is about relationships. And the key to all relationships is conversation of some kind. It's about being with each other in spiritually intimate ways and forming friendships of some kind. Life is all about relationships. The spiritual life is all about relationships. Relationships with life, with each other, with ourselves and with God. Whatever we understand God to be. And how do relationships develop? Well, through conversation, through sharing ourselves with each other, not by losing ourselves, but by becoming ourselves through our conversations with the other, lower and uppercase. We relate through conversation, and thus we grow spiritually through relationship. And nothing much needs to be said sometimes to form a conversation of some kind. A relationship can be formed in any situation and any circumstance. All you have to be is open to it. Call me anytime. Call me anytime. Call me anytime. Amen. I'm going to end this reflection with a few words of blessing. We need to bless more. We can all bless. And we can do so by giving our whole hearts to life. So let's begin today. Let's give our whole hearts to life. So I offer these words as a final blessing. May the love which overcomes all differences, which puts to flight all fears, which heals all wounds, which reconciles all who are separated, may it be in us and among us, now and always. Let's be good friends. Let's be good friends. Let's be good friends. And may we carry the vision of loving friendship with us, and may we do so in all that we feel, in all that we think, in all that we say, in all that we do. Amen.